Ravi worked as a janitor in a large office building. Every day he arrived early, cleaned the floors, polished the glass doors, and emptied the trash bins. Most people ignored him, walking past without a second thought. But Ravi never minded. He believed in doing his work well and quietly, without seeking attention. One sunny morning, Ravi was pushing his mop bucket toward the elevator when he heard loud voices from the parking lot. Curious, he walked down the concrete ramp to see what was happening. A crowd of office employees had gathered around a sleek black car. It was the CEO's car, a new model that sparkled in the morning sun. The CEO, Mr. Arman, was tall, sharply dressed, and known for his strict attitude. He valued order and perfection and rarely smiled. Today, his car had refused to start. He had tried the key several times, but the engine made only a faint clicking sound. Several employees had already tried to help, but none could fix it. "Is there no one here who knows how to handle machines?" Arman snapped, his voice echoing in the empty parking area. His tone was sharp, and his expression showed irritation. Then he noticed Ravi standing nearby, holding his mop. A mocking smile spread across Arman's face. "You? Yes, you, janitor. Why don't you try? Fix this car. If you can make it run, it's yours. But I doubt a mop expert can touch an engine." The employees laughed quietly. Some whispered to each other, expecting Ravi to fail. The challenge seemed impossible. How could a janitor fix such an expensive car? Ravi set down his mop bucket and approached the car calmly. He didn't argue, he didn't complain, and he didn't show any fear. He simply asked, "May I open the hood?" Arman raised an eyebrow, amused. "Go ahead. Let's see if you can do anything." The crowd fell silent. Everyone watched closely, curious to see what would happen next. Ravi lifted the hood slowly and examined the engine carefully. He looked at each wire, each pipe, and each bolt, studying the problem quietly. His hands moved confidently, as if he had done this many times before. Arman and the employees exchanged surprised looks. Ravi didn't seem worried or rushed. He reached into his pocket and took out a small tool he always carried for odd jobs. With a steady hand, he adjusted a small connection in the engine. Then he closed the hood gently. "Try starting it now," Ravi said softly. Arman rolled his eyes but turned the key in the ignition. Suddenly, the engine roared to life. The car's lights blinked, the engine purred, and everything worked perfectly. The employees gasped. The laughter died, replaced by shocked silence. No one had expected a janitor to fix the car so easily. Even Arman froze, his jaw tight, staring at Ravi. The CEO's plan to humiliate Ravi had failed completely. He had assumed that Ravi could do nothing, but now the car ran flawlessly. Arman's eyes widened as he realized he had made a promise without thinking. If he was serious about giving the car to Ravi, he would have to keep his word. Ravi simply smiled, calm and composed. He picked up his mop bucket and said, "I was just lucky, sir. Some small adjustments were needed." Arman's pride struggled with his promise. He had never imagined that a janitor could solve such a problem. The employees whispered excitedly among themselves, admiring Ravi's skill and composure. Some felt inspired. Others felt embarrassed for underestimating him. Ravi returned to his cleaning, quietly moving down the parking ramp as if nothing unusual had happened. But the image of the CEO standing frozen beside his car would remain with the employees for a long time. They had seen something important that day, a lesson in respect, skill, and humility. Arman looked at the running car and then at Ravi, who was already cleaning another section of the lot. A new thought formed in his mind. This janitor, this quiet and ordinary man, had something extraordinary in him. Perhaps it was time to reconsider how he treated people, no matter their job title. The day went on, but the parking lot incident became the talk of the office. Everyone whispered about the janitor who had fixed the CEO's car. And though Ravi continued his work as if nothing had happened, a subtle change had begun in the hearts of those who had watched. For Ravi, it was just another morning of work. But for Mr. Arman, it was a moment he would never forget, a moment that challenged his pride and opened his mind to a surprising truth. After the morning incident in the parking lot, the office buzzed with excitement. Employees whispered about Ravi, the janitor who had fixed the CEO's car. Some admired his calmness and skill. Others wondered how someone so quiet could accomplish what they could not. Meanwhile, Mr. Arman returned to his office, still staring at the car in disbelief. He had been proud, strict, and confident all his life, but today his pride had been challenged. A simple janitor had solved a problem he considered impossible. The thought made him uncomfortable. Arman sat at his large desk, tapping his pen nervously. He stared out of the window at the parking lot, trying to make sense of the morning's events. How can a janitor be this skilled, he muttered to himself. He had always believed that talent and intelligence came only with titles, degrees, and experience. But Ravi had proved him wrong. Curiosity mixed with frustration, and Arman decided he needed to know more about this man. He called his assistant, Mr. Imran. "Bring the janitor to my office," he said firmly. Ravi had just finished cleaning the lobby when Imran approached him. "Mr. Arman wants to see you in his office," he said politely. Ravi paused for a moment, then nodded. He had worked in the building for years and had rarely been called into the CEO's office. He walked calmly down the long hallway, his mop bucket trailing behind him. Employees stared as he passed. Some whispered quietly, others just watched, curious about what would happen next. When Ravi entered Arman's office, the CEO was standing by the window, looking serious. "Sit down, Ravi," he said, motioning to a chair. Ravi sat, keeping his hands on his knees. He waited silently, unsure what the CEO wanted but ready to respond if asked. Arman paced for a moment. "This morning, in the parking lot," he began, "you fixed my car. I must admit, I did not expect it. In fact, I was certain you would fail." Ravi looked at him calmly. "I only tried to help, sir. The car needed a small adjustment. I just happened to know how." Arman stopped pacing and stared at him. "Do you understand what you just did?" he asked. "You made me, well, embarrassed, I suppose. And at the same time, you showed me that I have been wrong about many things." Ravi blinked, slightly surprised by the seriousness of the conversation. "I did not mean to embarrass anyone, sir. I just did my work." Arman's expression softened slightly. "Ravi, I have always judged people by their jobs, their titles, or their appearance. I never stopped to think that someone like you could have such talent. Today, you proved me wrong." Ravi nodded quietly. "Thank you, sir. I believe everyone has their own skills. We just have to use them when needed." Arman leaned back in his chair, thinking. He wanted to reward Ravi, but he also wanted to understand him better. "Tell me," he said, "have you always worked as a janitor?" "Yes, sir," Ravi replied. "I like my work. I take pride in it. But I also enjoy learning about other things, like machines or tools. I help where I can." Arman's eyes narrowed slightly. "You help because you enjoy it, not for money, not for recognition." Ravi shook his head. "No, sir. Recognition is nice, but I prefer knowing I did something useful." The CEO was silent for a moment, reflecting on Ravi's words. They were simple, yet they carried a truth he rarely heard in his office. People often worked only for promotions or praise, but Ravi worked for respect, skill, and satisfaction. Finally, Arman spoke again. "Ravi, I have an idea. I want you to help me with some projects around the office. Not as a janitor, but as someone who can solve problems, like this morning. Ravi blinked, unsure if he had heard correctly. You want me to do what exactly, sir? I want you to fix things, organize things, and help with technical problems. If you succeed, I will reward you properly. This is not about your job title anymore. It is about your skill, Armin explained. Ravi smiled softly. I will try my best, sir. Armin leaned forward. Good. Also, I need to apologize for mocking you this morning. It was wrong of me, and I hope you accept my apology. I do, sir, Ravi said politely. As Ravi left the office, he felt a mix of pride and curiosity. This could be a turning point in his life. He had never expected that a simple act of helping could lead to something bigger. For the first time, he felt that his work and his skills were truly seen and appreciated. In the hallway, employees stared at him with newfound respect. They had always seen Ravi as just the janitor, but now they understood that he was much more. Some whispered quietly about how even the CEO had been surprised by him. Others felt a little ashamed for underestimating him all these years. Ravi returned to his mop and bucket, moving down the hallway calmly. But the atmosphere in the office had changed. People no longer saw him as just a janitor. He was someone who could solve problems, someone who could surprise even the most powerful person in the building. And somewhere in his office, Armin looked out the window at Ravi, realizing that he had just met someone extraordinary, a man whose humility and skill could not be measured by a job title. After his meeting with Mr. Armin, Ravi returned to his regular duties. The lobby sparkled, the floors shined, and the trash bins were empty. Yet, everything felt different. People no longer ignored him. Some offered polite smiles or nods, and a few even stopped to ask simple questions about his work. Ravi smiled quietly, continuing his tasks. He did not seek attention, but he noticed the small changes in how people treated him. Later that afternoon, Mr. Imran, the CEO's assistant, approached Ravi. Sir wants you in his office again, he said politely. Ravi nodded and followed him through the long hallways. He wondered what new task awaited him. When he entered the CEO's office, Mr. Armin was already seated, reviewing some documents. Ravi, I have another task for you, Armin said. There are several machines in our storage room that have been broken for weeks. No one has been able to fix them. I want you to take a look and see if you can get them running. Ravi tilted his head slightly. I can try, sir, he said calmly. Armin stood and gestured toward the door. Good. I want you to start immediately. I have full confidence that you can handle it. The storage room was at the back of the building. When Ravi entered, he found several office machines stacked on shelves and the floor. Some were printers, others were small machines used for packaging or copying. Most were dusty and neglected, and a few looked damaged beyond repair. Ravi examined each one carefully. He tested their functions, listened to their sounds, and identified the problems one by one. Some needed small adjustments, others required tightening screws or cleaning internal parts. He moved methodically, using a small toolbox he had brought with him. Hours passed, but Ravi remained focused. He wiped dust away, adjusted small connections, and carefully tested each machine. Slowly, one by one, they began to work. A printer that had been broken for months started printing perfectly. A copier that jammed constantly now ran smoothly. Even a small packaging machine, ignored for weeks, began operating efficiently. By late afternoon, the storage room was quiet except for the hum of the newly repaired machines. Ravi stepped back and wiped his hands on his uniform. Everything was working as it should. At that moment, Mr. Armin and several employees entered the storage room. They stopped in their tracks, their eyes widening as they saw the machines functioning perfectly. I don't believe it, one employee whispered. He fixed all of them by himself. Armin walked slowly toward Ravi, his expression a mixture of surprise and admiration. "Ravi," he said, "I never imagined you could do all this. These machines were abandoned because everyone said they were unfixable. Yet, here they are, working better than ever." Ravi smiled quietly. "Some things just need patience and careful attention, sir. They are not impossible." Armin nodded slowly. "You are teaching me a lesson every day, Ravi. I have always believed that skill is only in degrees and experience. Today, I see that patience and dedication matter just as much." The employees murmured among themselves, realizing how wrong they had been about underestimating Ravi. Some even felt inspired to work harder and pay more attention to details in their own tasks. Armin paused and looked around the room. "Ravi, I want you to continue helping us with technical issues whenever they arise. You don't have to ask for permission. Just do what you can. And when you succeed, I promise there will be a reward." Ravi nodded. "Thank you, sir. I will do my best." As the CEO and employees left, Ravi began cleaning the storage room. Even though he had finished repairing the machines, he took the time to organize the area, making it neat and easy to use. It was part of his nature to leave things better than he found them. Word of Ravi's success spread quickly throughout the office. By the end of the day, people who had ignored or underestimated him now looked at him with respect. They understood that true skill and value are not always obvious and that even someone in a simple job could achieve extraordinary things. That evening, as Ravi left the building, he felt a quiet satisfaction. He had done his work well and, in the process, shown that effort, patience, and focus could overcome challenges that seemed impossible. Meanwhile, Mr. Armin stayed in his office late, thinking about the day's events. He realized that he had been wrong about many things, about talent, about people, and about judging others too quickly. Ravi's work had not only solved problems but had also changed the way the CEO viewed the world around him. Armin leaned back in his chair, a small smile forming on his face. He had a new respect for the janitor who had fixed his car and repaired machines no one else could. And he knew that Ravi's presence in the office would bring unexpected benefits in the days to come. For Ravi, it was another day of work, quietly done. For the CEO and the employees, it was a day that would be remembered, a day when a simple janitor showed that skill, patience, and dedication are more valuable than status or title. The next morning, Ravi arrived at the office early, as always. He started his usual routine, sweeping the floors and cleaning the windows, but there was a new energy in the building. Employees whispered and smiled as he passed, some even stopping to greet him. They had seen his skill and patience in action and now treated him with quiet respect. Just as Ravi finished cleaning the main lobby, Mr. Imran approached him again. "Sir wants to see you in the office," he said. Ravi nodded and followed, curious about what new task awaited him today. When he entered Mr. Armin's office, the CEO was standing by his desk with a serious expression. "Ravi," he said, "we have a problem. One of our delivery trucks is stuck in the loading bay. The engine won't start, and it needs to be moved immediately. If it stays here, it will delay shipments and upset our clients. Can you handle it?" Ravi glanced at the truck through the office window. It was large and complicated, far bigger than the car he had fixed days earlier. "I will try, sir," he said calmly. Armin nodded. "I trust you. Please do your best." Ravi walked down to the loading bay, employees following quietly, curious to see how he would handle this new challenge. The truck's engine was silent, and several mechanics had already tried to fix it without success. Ravi approached carefully, examining the engine and the connections. He listened to the sounds, felt the parts, and inspected the systems one by one. Unlike the car, this engine was bigger and more complex, but Ravi stayed calm. He methodically tested each section, checking for loose wires, small leaks, or blocked fuel lines. He adjusted screws, tightened bolts, and carefully cleaned areas that had gathered dust or grease. Hours passed, but Ravi did not rush. He worked steadily, slowly making progress. Employees watched in silence, amazed by his concentration and patience. Even the mechanics who had failed before stood quietly, unable to interrupt or offer advice, realizing that Ravi's approach was different. Finally, Ravi completed the final adjustment. He wiped his hands and stepped back. "It should start now," he said quietly. One of the mechanics hesitated but turned the key in the ignition. The engine roared to life, smooth and strong. The truck's lights blinked, and the horn honked once, signaling that it was ready to move. The employees gasped. The mechanics exchanged looks of disbelief. Ravi had done what no one else could. Arman, who had watched from the office window, walked down to the loading bay. His usual stern expression softened into a smile. "Ravi," he said, "you have done it again. I cannot believe how calmly and efficiently you handled this challenge. Everyone else failed, but you succeeded." Ravi smiled modestly. "It just needed patience and careful work, sir. Sometimes the solution is simple if you take the time to look carefully." Arman nodded, his admiration for Ravi growing stronger. "You are teaching me something important every day. Talent and titles matter, but patience, observation, and dedication can solve even the hardest problems." The employees whispered excitedly among themselves. Ravi's reputation as a problem solver had grown even more. They realized that skill and wisdom are not always obvious at first glance, and that anyone can make a difference regardless of their role. After moving the truck safely to its proper place, Ravi cleaned up the area, making sure everything was neat and organized. His work was never only about fixing things, it was about leaving a place better than he found it. Later, in his office, Arman called Ravi in once more. "Ravi, I have an idea," he said. "I want you to be part of our special project team. You don't need a title. I just want your skill, patience, and problem-solving ability to be used wherever needed in the company. You have proven that you can handle anything." Ravi was quiet for a moment, thinking. "I am grateful for the opportunity, sir. I will do my best wherever I am needed." Arman smiled. "Good. I want you to know that your work matters here. People will notice, and your efforts will be appreciated properly." As Ravi left the office, employees stopped to greet him. Some asked questions about how he had fixed the truck. Others just smiled, inspired by his calmness and skill. Ravi responded politely, never boasting, simply sharing small details when asked. By the end of the day, it was clear that Ravi's presence had changed the atmosphere in the office. People worked with more care, more patience, and more respect for each other. They had learned that even a quiet janitor could make a powerful impact with skill and dedication. That evening, as Ravi walked home, he reflected on the day. Challenges would always come, but patience, focus, and careful attention could turn even the most difficult problems into solutions. He felt satisfaction, not from praise, but from knowing that his work had made a real difference. Meanwhile, Arman remained in his office late into the evening, thinking about Ravi. He realized that humility and skill could be far more valuable than arrogance and titles. Ravi had not only solved problems for the company but had also changed the way everyone, including the CEO, thought about work, talent, and respect. A few days after fixing the truck, Ravi's reputation in the office had grown. People no longer saw him just as the janitor. He was now known as someone who could solve problems that seemed impossible. Even Mr. Arman, the CEO, had begun to trust Ravi's skills and judgment. One morning, Arman called Ravi to his office with an unusually serious expression. "Ravi," he said, "we have a situation that is more complicated than anything you have handled before. Our office server has crashed, and the IT team has been unable to recover it. If we do not fix it soon, we could lose important data and delay major projects. Ravi listened carefully. I will do my best, sir, he said calmly. Arman nodded. I trust you. You may use any resources you need. Just fix it. Ravi walked toward the server room, followed by a few curious employees. The server room was quiet, with the low hum of machines and blinking lights. Several IT specialists were already there, looking frustrated. They had tried multiple methods, but nothing had worked. Ravi examined the server carefully. He checked every cable, every connection, and every backup system. He did not rush. Instead, he observed patiently, noting small details that others had missed. After careful inspection, he realized that a simple misconnection had caused the crash. He quietly reconnected a few wires, adjusted some settings, and rebooted the system. The server began to come back online. Files started appearing, systems were restored, and all operations returned to normal. The IT team stared in disbelief, unable to understand how a janitor had solved the problem they had struggled with for hours. Arman arrived just as the server stabilized. His eyes widened as he saw the employees celebrating quietly. Ravi, he said, I do not know how you did it, but you have saved us from a major disaster. Ravi smiled politely. Sir, I only observed carefully and made small adjustments. Sometimes, the solution is simpler than it seems. Arman nodded slowly, impressed not only by Ravi's skill but also by his calm approach. You continue to surprise me every day, he said. I thought only trained IT staff could handle this, but you have proven otherwise. The employees who had been watching whispered among themselves. Many of them realized that skill and talent were not always obvious and that Ravi's quiet demeanor hid extraordinary ability. Some felt inspired to pay more attention to their work and approach problems with patience rather than frustration. Later in the office, Arman called Ravi into his office once again. Ravi, he said, I want to formally recognize your contributions. You have fixed machines, repaired vehicles, and even restored our server. Your skills are remarkable, and your attitude is even more impressive. Ravi remained humble. Thank you, sir. I am happy to help wherever I can. That is all I wish for. Arman leaned back in his chair, smiling. Your dedication teaches everyone a lesson. Titles and job descriptions do not define a person's value. Skill, patience, and calmness do. From now on, I want you to be part of every major project that requires problem solving. I trust your judgment completely. Ravi nodded quietly. I will do my best, sir. Over the next few days, Ravi was called to help with several small projects and technical issues. Every time, he approached the task with focus and care. Whether it was fixing a copier, reorganizing a storage room, or adjusting minor electrical systems, Ravi completed the work quickly and efficiently. Employees began to notice changes in themselves as well. Many realized that rushing or assuming failure could lead to mistakes, and they began to adopt Ravi's calm and methodical approach. Even some of the higher-level staff sought his advice on small problems, recognizing the value of observation, patience, and careful thinking. By the end of the week, the CEO summoned Ravi once more. Ravi, Arman said, you have not only solved technical problems but also inspired the entire office. Your work has created a positive change that affects everyone. I am proud to have you here, not just as a janitor, but as a trusted problem solver. Ravi felt a quiet sense of pride. He had never sought recognition, but knowing that his work had made a difference gave him satisfaction. He simply nodded. Thank you, sir. I will continue to do my best. That evening, as Ravi walked home, he thought about the week's events. He realized that talent and hard work could create opportunities, even in places where people did not expect it. Patience, observation, and dedication were powerful tools, more valuable than titles or recognition. Back in the office, Armin looked out the window at the city lights. He thought about the quiet janitor who had changed everything, who had proven that skill and calm determination could solve problems others considered impossible. He knew that Ravi's presence would continue to bring unexpected solutions and inspire everyone in the office for a long time. Ravi's work had already made a quiet impact on the office. Employees no longer ignored him, and even the CEO, Mr. Armin, had begun to trust his judgment completely. But Ravi did not seek attention. He simply focused on each task, giving it his full effort and care. One afternoon, the office received news that a major client would visit unexpectedly. The client's inspection was critical, and the entire office needed to appear organized and efficient. Papers, machines, and equipment had to be in perfect order, and any delays could cost the company a significant contract. Mr. Armin immediately called Ravi. "Ravi," he said, "the office must be ready for inspection in a few hours. Everyone is busy preparing, but I want you to check the entire workspace and make sure everything runs smoothly. Can I count on you?" Ravi nodded calmly. "I will do my best, sir." He moved quickly but carefully through the office. Employees watched as he inspected printers, computers, and machines, ensuring they were functioning correctly. He adjusted small settings, organized supplies, and even repaired minor issues that could have gone unnoticed. Next, he walked through the hallways, checking lights, doors, and safety equipment. He noticed a few malfunctioning air vents and adjusted them so that the rooms would remain comfortable for the client. Nothing escaped his attention. The staff were amazed. Many of them realized that Ravi had an extraordinary ability to see problems before they became serious. His calm and focused approach helped everyone around him work more efficiently. Even small details, like a crooked sign or misplaced chairs, were fixed before anyone else had noticed. When the client arrived, the office was spotless and fully functional. All machines worked perfectly, employees were organized and polite, and the atmosphere was professional. Mr. Armin watched with pride and amazement as the client moved through the office, inspecting every corner. After the inspection, the client turned to Armin with a smile. "Your office is impressive. Everything is well organized, and the staff seem efficient. I am especially impressed with how smoothly everything runs." Armin nodded, but he knew the real credit belonged to Ravi. Without hesitation, he walked toward the janitor, who was quietly organizing supplies in a storage room. "Ravi," Armin said loudly enough for the client and employees to hear, "I want to formally recognize your efforts. Your skill, dedication, and attention to detail have made a real difference. You ensured that our office is in perfect condition today. This success is because of you." Ravi looked up, slightly surprised by the attention. "Thank you, sir," he said humbly. "I am happy to help in any way I can." The client smiled and extended a hand. "You must be the person responsible for keeping everything running so smoothly. I am very impressed." Ravi shook the client's hand politely, feeling a quiet sense of pride. Employees watched in awe. Many realized that Ravi's work was far beyond what they had imagined. The quiet janitor had become the backbone of the office in ways they could not see every day. His skill, patience, and calm nature had earned respect from everyone, including the CEO and an important client. Later, back in his office, Armin spoke to Ravi privately. "Ravi, I want to offer you something special," he said. "You have proven that skill, focus, and dedication are more valuable than titles or status. From now on, you will be part of a special team that handles important projects. You will have access to resources, training, and recognition for your work. I trust you completely." Ravi felt a deep sense of gratitude but remained humble. "Thank you, sir. I will continue to do my best wherever I am needed." Over the next few weeks, Ravi continued to help with projects, repair machines, and solve problems. His work became a model for the rest of the staff. People tried to adopt his careful approach and learned that attention to detail, patience, and persistence could make a big difference. One evening, as Ravi was leaving the office, Mr. Arman called him back. "Ravi," he said, "you have changed the way this office works. You have taught us a lesson in humility, patience, and skill. I want everyone in the company to know about your contributions. You deserve recognition, not just for your work, but for the way you inspire others." Ravi smiled quietly. "Thank you, sir. I only do my work as best I can." Arman nodded. "That is why it is remarkable. You do your work without seeking praise, yet the impact is enormous. You remind us all what true skill and dedication mean." As Ravi walked home that evening, he felt a quiet sense of fulfillment. He had never sought recognition, yet his work had made a difference in many lives. The respect of his peers, the trust of the CEO, and the admiration of the client were rewards he had never expected, but they filled him with satisfaction. And in the office, employees continued to follow his example, inspired by a simple janitor who had shown that dedication, patience, and skill could change not only machines and systems but the hearts and minds of everyone around him. The office had changed a lot since Ravi's first day of extraordinary problem solving. Employees now saw him as more than a janitor. He had earned their respect, the trust of the CEO, and even the admiration of clients. Yet, Ravi remained the same humble man, quietly focusing on each task. One Monday morning, Mr. Arman called Ravi into his office with a serious yet warm expression. "Ravi," he said, "you have been part of many important projects over the past weeks. You have fixed machines, vehicles, servers, and more. You have improved our office in ways I could never have imagined. I want to properly reward your dedication." Ravi looked at him calmly. "Thank you, sir. I am happy to help." Arman smiled. "You deserve more than gratitude. I want you to have a position that reflects your skill and contribution. You will continue your work, but now as head of special projects. You will lead problem-solving initiatives, train employees, and be recognized as a key member of this company." Ravi blinked slightly in surprise but nodded politely. "I will do my best, sir." Arman continued, "I also want to officially give you a car. The one I promised you earlier. You have earned it through skill, patience, and dedication. It is a small token compared to the value you have brought to this company." Ravi smiled, quietly touched by the gesture. "Thank you, sir. I will use it wisely." Word quickly spread throughout the office. Employees were amazed to see the quiet janitor, who had always worked diligently without seeking recognition, now officially acknowledged and rewarded. Many felt inspired. They realized that dedication and skill could lead to success regardless of one's role. As Ravi received the keys to his new car, he carefully thanked Mr. Arman again. "I appreciate this, sir. I will continue to work hard and help wherever I am needed." Arman nodded. "I have learned a lot from you, Ravi. Your work ethic, patience, and humility have reminded me of the importance of respecting everyone, no matter their position. You have made a lasting impact on this office." Later that day, Ravi's first task as head of special projects arrived. A shipment of important office equipment had been delayed, and minor mechanical issues had caused confusion. Ravi calmly analyzed the situation, repaired the small issues, and organized the delivery process. Employees watched as he coordinated everything smoothly. His calm presence and clear instructions reassured everyone, and the problem was solved efficiently. Over the following weeks, Ravi trained several employees in careful observation, patience, and problem-solving techniques. He encouraged them to pay attention to details, think before acting, and approach challenges calmly. Slowly, the entire office culture began to change. Mistakes decreased, teamwork improved, and employees felt more confident in their work. Even Mr. Arman noticed the change. One afternoon, he stopped by Ravi's workspace. "Ravi," he said, Your influence goes beyond fixing machines or solving technical problems. You have taught everyone here the value of patience, humility, and dedication. This office is better because of you. Ravi smiled quietly. I am happy to help, sir. That is all I wish for. As months passed, Ravi's reputation extended beyond the office. Clients and visiting professionals noticed the efficiency and order of the workplace. They were impressed by the calm, professional atmosphere and the smooth operation of machines and processes. Many asked about the man responsible for the change, and employees proudly spoke of Ravi. Despite all the recognition, Ravi never changed his simple, humble nature. He continued to clean the office, repair equipment, and solve problems. Yet, now he did so with authority and respect, inspiring everyone around him. He had shown that true skill, patience, and dedication could overcome obstacles, gain respect, and create lasting impact. One evening, as Ravi left the office in his new car, he reflected on his journey. He thought about the first day he had fixed the CEO's car, and how everything had grown from that single act. Patience, humility, and careful work had turned what seemed like an ordinary job into something extraordinary. Meanwhile, Mr. Arman remained in his office, watching the city lights. He thought about how a simple janitor had changed his perception of work, people, and leadership. Ravi had reminded him that true value lies in skill, dedication, and the willingness to help, regardless of a person's title or status. The office had transformed. Employees worked with greater focus, machines ran smoothly, and problems were solved efficiently. And at the heart of this change was Ravi, a humble, dedicated man who had proven that quiet skill and patience could make a powerful difference. From that day forward, Ravi was no longer seen just as a janitor. He was a problem solver, a teacher, and a source of inspiration for everyone around him. And though he had gained recognition, a title, and a car, he remained the same humble person who believed that doing his best and helping others was the greatest reward of all. The story of Ravi spread quietly among the staff, a reminder that even the simplest people can achieve extraordinary things when they approach life with patience, dedication, and a calm heart.